Good morning. Good morning. Welcome or welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Friday. June the 7th, and we are here to look at some options for the Midsummer HistMyst readathon that I am doing. Good morning, Kim. How are you doing? Did you have a good evening? Doing anything this weekend? It is Friday, and I'm very glad that we are finally at this point. It's been a long week at work for me. Let's see, announcements. No sprints tonight. I don't do them on Friday night. We will have them tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Eastern, and they will go for 5 hours. Bring your own book, work on a project, be creative. Whatever it is that makes you happy, that is time for you. All right. What I thought I would do is I talk a lot about the books that I very much enjoy. Um, I probably talk about them um, so much you don't think there's a whole lot out there. There's tons and tons and tons out there. And I wanted to focus maybe on Kindle Unlimited books. If you have the Prime, or if you have Kindle Unlimited, these books are no cost to you on top of what you're already paying for the unlimited portion. So lots of these, so kind of technically free. So there are just so many historical mysteries out there under that category. I thought I would take a look at a few here. Some I have read, some I have not read. And we won't go into huge in-depthness of them. This first one is by Cara Devlin. There's 7 books in this Bow Street Duchess mystery series. I have read this first one. I intend to read more. First book is Murder at the Seven Dials. And it starts with a murdered opera singer, a duke drenched in her blood. For Bow Street officer Hugh Marsden, the brutal killing is a straightforward case. Ever since his own exile from polite society, Hugh's distaste for the ton has grown. Now, an opportunity to take down a peer of the realm has practically fallen into his lap. The only thing standing in his way? Audrey Sinclair, the Duchess of Fournier. Audrey is certain her husband is wrongly accused, and she's determined to prove it to the arrogant Bow Street officer, even if she must employ her most peculiar ability, or perhaps curse, to guide her investigation. After all, a duchess can do as she pleases. So these are kind of in the line of a male-female partner, slow burn, if you like that kind of thing. This next one, I have talked about this series before. I am reading this series. This is by Irina Shapiro. She writes a lot of books, and many of them are historical mystery types. So this is an author definitely to check out. This series is the Redmond and Hayes mysteries, and these are a not quite Sherlock and Watson type of dynamic. It's a little bit more on equal footing, but it is a partnership of 2 males type of crime solving. This first one is Murder in the Crypt, and it is set in the 1860s-ish. When the body of a young man is found stuffed into the tomb of a medieval knight, Parish Constable Daniel Hayes is tasked with investigating his first solo murder case. Suspicion instantly falls on the only stranger to arrive in the village of Birch Hill just before the crime took place. But the American captain proves to be an unexpected asset. A former soldier and a skilled surgeon, Jason Redmond is not only willing to assist Hayes with the investigation, but will risk his own safety to apprehend the killer. I do recommend that series. Head up to puppy stay. Oh, other mother needs me to be with great needs to be with great grandkids tonight before they leave on beach trip tomorrow. Oh, what a good get your puppy fix. Saw youth group friends last night at memorial and service last night. Oh yes. I bet that was bittersweet. Another one Sunday and haven't heard about cousin service. Oh man. It is sad for those who are left behind on this side of the energy veil, shall we say. But they are now on the party barge. All right. To mix things up a little bit, this one is set during the Elizabethan time period. I have read this one, actually reread it last week, but I first read these when they came out. I don't know if all of them are on Kindle Unlimited, but they are available. First of them, a few of them are available on Kindle Unlimited. There are 23 in this series. This is the Ursula Blanchard mystery series. The character is Ursula Blanchard, a widowed young mother who has become lady-in-waiting to Queen Elizabeth I. Armed with a sharp eye, dangerous curiosity, and uncanny intelligence, Ursula pledges to shield the Queen. Title. Rumor has linked Queen Elizabeth to her master of horse, Robin Dudley. As gossip would have it, only his ailing wife, Amy, prevents marriage between Dudley and the Queen. To quell the idle tongues at court, the Queen dispatches Ursula Blanchard to tend to the sick woman's needs. But not even Ursula can prevent the accident that takes Amy's life. Did she fall or was she pushed? Ursula a pawn of Dudley and the Queen, etc. And that is an actual cold case. They have never solved that one. The author does come up with an explanation. This one I have not read yet, but I do have it on my immediate TBR. You have a full week of them. Oh man. Well, you're building up that muscle. It gets easier. This is a Lady Hardcastle Mysteries. There are 11 in this series by D.E. Kinsey. And the first book is A Quiet Life in the Country. This is Edwardian England. Lady Emily Hardcastle is an eccentric widow with a secret past. Florence Armstrong, her maid and confidant, is an expert in martial arts. The year is 1908, and they've just moved from London to the country hoping for a quiet life. But it's not long before Lady Hardcastle is forced out of her self-imposed retirement. There's a dead body in the woods, and the police are on the wrong scent. Lady Hardcastle makes some inquiries of her own, and it seems she knows a surprising amount about crime investigation. ... I'm going to jump down here for a minute in case you think we're getting a little too in a certain era. I also want to point out before we run out of time, we've got about 10 minutes, but before we run out of time, my computer is so slow lately. There is a Kindle Unlimited series featuring the Beatles. Yes, that is considered historical. Yeah. It is almost 60 years ago. This is by Cal Smug. There's 6 in this series so far. And the first book is called Larceny in Liverpool. And it's just under 200 pages, so a quick read. For British teenager Helen Spencer, it was in 1962, right before the Beatles exploded across Britain and America and the rest of the world, a local band on the verge of stardom. Helen didn't realize she'd rise from obscure Liverpool fan club employee to acceptance into the Beatles' inner circle, propelling her through a fun-filled, world-changing decade, figuring out one big mystery at a time. And this book is How It All Began. Now, for me, historical, I don't know if it stops at the 50s. It probably now includes the 60s. Probably now includes the 70s. I saw a meme that said um, the movie Back to the Future was made in 1985, and Marty McFly went back 30 years and met his mother and father in the 1950s. If that happened today, and the character went back 30 years, it would be 1994. Doesn't that just blow your mind? Oh, I don't even want to think about it. All right. Back in the 1800s, I've not read this series, but it looks interesting. In the same vein of the type that I do like to read, this is the Miss Hayward and the Detective series. There's 5 so far in this series by Helen Goltz. This first one is Murder at the Carnival. Matilda Hayward is determined to have a career after all. It is 1888. While reporting for the Women's Journal newspaper, Matilda is sent to cover the visiting carnival and to interview Mrs. Anna Tufton, a giantess. During the interview, the giantess slips a note to Matilda begging for help to her escape the show she is forced to do by her husband. But when the husband is found murdered, the giantess is a likely suspect. Matilda enlists the help of her lawyer brother Amos to prove that she is no killer and to free her from a life of exploitation. It was an interesting concept. Awesome. Yeah, I need to get to these. This one I also have on my immediate TBR, but I've not read them yet. The author is Lynn Messina. There's 12 books in the Beatrice Hyde Clare mysteries. This first one is called A Brazen Curiosity. Nothing ruins a lovely house party like bloody murder. At the decrepit old age of 26, Miss Beatrice Hyde Clare has virtually no hope of landing a husband. An orphan living off her relatives' charity, her job is to sit with her needlework and to keep her thoughts to herself. When Bee receives an invitation to an elegant country party, she intends to do just that. Not even the presence of the aggravatingly handsome Duke of Kesgrave could lead this young lady to scandal. True, she might wish to pour her bowl of turtle soup on his aristocratic head, however, she would never actually do it. But a lady can fantasize. But when she stumbles upon the dead body of another houseguest, all Bee's good intentions fly out the well-appointed window. Although the magistrate declares it a suicide, she knows better. I just love house party murders. Doesn't really matter the era. Next one, I've talked about a lot. I love this series. And I call it Veronica Speedwell Light. If you are waiting for the next Veronica Speedwell, this is a good option. This is by Carla Simpson. There's 9 books in this series. Features Angus Brody and Michaela Forsyth. And it is set in 1889. This first one is called A Deadly Affair. She's an unconventional lady who has traveled the world, practices the art of self defense most excellently, and has an interesting tattoo in a very unusual place. He's a former member of the Metropolitan Police, now a private investigator who grew up on the poverty ridden streets of Edinburgh and has worked the dangerous back alleys of London's notorious East End. A vicious murder brings them both together in a race against time. And I say Veronica Speedwell Light because she has that same kind of bold female attitude. Now this one I had looked at before. I've not read it, but the covers are very pleasing to me, shall we say. This is set in the 1920s. It's by E.M. Bolton. There's 9 books in this series. It features Ellie Blaine, as I say, in the 1920s. An unexpected invitation sees Ellie Blaine leave Indiana for the rolling hills and moors of North Yorkshire and the grand home of the stern Dr. Richard Lindley, brother to her late war hero fiancé. If Ellie is unsure what she is doing in England, she soon has an even more complex mystery to solve when an apparent grisly accident is swiftly followed by murder, with both victims found clutching a single white feather. It's just under 200 pages, so a quick read, but enough of a read that it's not necessarily novella. This next one is now Kindle Unlimited. This one was not originally released as Kindle Unlimited, same as that Fiona Buckley one up there. But they are now being offered. This is by David Penny. It is in the 1500s, if you are looking for something medieval. And it features Thomas Barrington. And the first book is called Men of Bone. There are 4 in this series, if I had not mentioned it. In the 1501, London. Can a man turn his back on all hope to protect those he loves? Returning to an England now alien to him, Thomas Barrington falls foul of a thieves' guild. In his efforts to protect a stranger, he becomes their target. When the bonemen come to inflict punishment, he has no choice but to kill one of their order. Fleeing London in the company of Arthur, Prince of Wales, heir to the English throne, he is if you know history, he is Henry VIII's older brother, who was supposed to be king, but he died before that happened. But he was the first to actually marry Catherine of Aragon. Thomas believes he has escaped retribution for his actions, but it is a mistake that may get him and his companions killed. This is another series by Irina Shapiro. I do have this one. There's 3 so far in this series. It's called the Tate and Bell series. This first book is called The Highgate Cemetery Murder. His heart pounding, the man scribbles the words in his notebook as fast as he can. Woman dead in Highgate, man in caped coat, Milky Way and red streaks. I'm being followed. Hours later, the man's cold body lies in the city mortuary alongside the woman he couldn't save, and his sister, unconventional nurse Gemma Tate, tracks down troubled police inspector Sebastian Bell to unravel the truth. Sebastian has enough pressure to solve the murder of an aristocratic heiress without Gemma meddling in his case, but the cryptic sentences she brings with him from her brother's notebook could be a crucial lead. So they are comparing this to Deanna Rayburn, Andrea Penrose, and if you watch, apparently there's a series called Miss Scarlet and the Duke. There's a lot of this type of series getting a lot of attention, which is not a bad thing at all. And I like it. All right, these are also set in 1920s by L.B. Hathaway. the Rosie Parker series. 16 in this series so far. First book is Murder Off Stage. It's says will appeal to fans of Agatha Christie and Downton Abbey. Which, yeah, I suppose later Downton Abbey. When Posey Parker's childhood friend is robbed of a priceless jewel and becomes a suspect in a cold-blooded murder case, budding detective Posey vows she will clear his name. Aided by her seriously gorgeous assistant Len, Posey soon realizes things are not quite as they seem. So if you do have Kindle Unlimited, lots and lots of options. We're running out of time, so I'm just going to look at covers and authors here. The Magda Alexander author of the first book is Murder on the Golden Arrow, appears to be the 1920s. Masquerade in London by Emily L. Finch, that appears to be 1800s. Some of these I do have on my TBR. A Proud Woman by Sarah E. Knoll. We're going to skip this one for a moment. A Fate Worse Than Death. I have read that one. That's by Dolores Gordon Smith. That is set in the 1920s. I enjoy that one. We did The Beatles. This one I also have on my TBR. Killer in the Crystal Palace by Deb Marlowe. That series is also set in the 1800s. This one I came across yesterday that was intriguing to me, and we'll make time for it. Again, a different era than what's currently popular, like with Regency and Victorian. If you like Outlander-ish, or Scottish, there are 4 books in this series by Martha Keyes. Tales from the Highlands is the series. The first book is The Widow and the Highlander. She needs to be protected. He'll take on the job for a price. Christina McKinnon is secretly relieved to be a widow. She is equally desperate to distance herself from the clan of her dead husband, but as the heir to his estate, one she needs in order to support her siblings, she must first stave off both the advances and threats of the man next in line to inherit. It seems the only person she can turn to is a nearby stranger who seems inclined to help her, but he has a request. Freshly returned from the war, Lachlan Kincaid has one aim: to see justice served to the McKinnons for betraying his family years ago and depriving him of his inheritance, etc., etc. While biding his time at a nearby inn, he discovers the death of the McKinnon laird, whose widow has inherited everything. So that sounded interesting to me. It's a different kind of setting that you don't normally see. What is happening? Here we go. Well, again, I hope, I know there's some big readathons going on this month, but if you want to take a break from that, try some historical mysteries. Sorry, I'm doing some things in the background here and trying to talk at the same time, and it's just not working. Good thing it's Friday. I thought we'd end on a happy, bright note. Give some a try. There are just tons and tons. There are some great resources. If you go to perhaps stopyourkillingme.com, you can certainly Google. They're being very, very popular right now. If you are super in love with the Bridgerton books / TV show, lots of Regency historical mysteries. If you want to take a break from all the romance. So give historical romance a try. This is the month for it, the Midsummer HistMyst. Have a great day. I've got to get busy doing laundry before packing. Indeed. So do you have to travel far, Kim? I can't remember if it's in town or if you have to travel. But I hope you have a good weekend with the puppies. And again, sorry for your recent losses. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Again, I don't have sprints tonight. I will have them tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Eastern. They'll be for 5 hours. And then next week, we'll be starting to look at the new releases being set into the wild next week, genre by genre. So if I don't see you, have a good weekend. Hope you're reading good books. And as the banner says here, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Nom nom. Have a good day and God bless. Okay, good, good, good. Either way, travel safely.